What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Star Wars edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we talk about all things matter to me in the world of the Star Wars cinematic universe. This is episode number 7, and I haven't done one of these episodes in a very long time, mainly because there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. Episode 7 is long underway going through post-production. They're doing the editing and the visual effects work. They're getting the movie ready for its release date later this year. Episode 7, The Force Awakens, comes out on December 18, 2015, and I'm super excited about it because this is a Star Wars film. It's been 10 years since Revenge of the Sith, and not only does this film not have a whole lot to do with George Lucas, but it's a J.J. Abrams directed Star Wars film. I'm a big fan of his work. The original cast is coming back. The Millennium Falcon's going to be in there. There's TIE fighters. Oh man, I'm super excited, okay? What I'm also excited about is, of course, the future Star Wars films. We're getting Star Wars spin-offs. We're also getting more sequels like Episode 8 and 9. And finally, we have some news about those future films. And what we recently ended up knowing about, because it was just announced today, and it is that Star Wars Episode 8 now has an official release date. They have a director, that would be Rian Johnson. Well, now they have a release date, and that is May 26th of 2017. That is awesome. You know why? It's because they're going back to their original release date schedules for Star Wars films. If you don't already know, the Star Wars prequels, and I'm not even sure about the original trilogy because I was just too young to even know about them, but the prequels were released in May of that year. And I like the fact that they're going back to the May release date. Now, originally, Episode 7 was supposed to be released in May as well of this year, but they couldn't make that time frame. So they decided to push it to November of 2015, and that wasn't good enough, so they decided December of 2015. But now they're going back to the May release date, so May 26, 2017 is when they're officially releasing Star Wars Episode 8, directed by Rian Johnson. Very exciting. Now, that's not the only little bit of news that I have for you. Let's talk about the Star Wars spin-off, which actually comes out before Rian Johnson's Episode 8, and that is the Star Wars spin-off directed by Gareth, which comes out in 2016. So far, all we know is December of 2016. We don't have an official release date yet, but we do have the official title. It was announced today that Star Wars, the spin-off, the very first spin-off directed by Gareth Edwards, will be titled Star Wars Rogue One. And of course, this suggests that the Star Wars spin-off is about X-Wing pilots. Alright? The movie's going to be centered around X-Wing pilots. And, there's no other information other than that. But, we can speculate what it could mean. First of all, if you don't already know, there was a Star Wars video game called Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron. That came out in 1998. And it wasn't exactly part of the Star Wars canon. It was kind of like a spin-off video game. But, that centered around Rebel pilots. Alright? Now, Rogue One is, of course, referring to the X-Wing pilots and their call signs, all right? And they name their ships or their fighters that way because they can, when they communicate each other, they can say things like Rogue One standing by, Red 5 standing by, blah blah blah, right? In fact, Luke Skywalker was called Red 5, I believe. I think he called himself Red 5. And it's interesting because Boba Fett's ship is called Slave 1. So they always attach a name and then a number, okay? But I believe in Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Luke was called Rogue 5. No, not Rogue 5. Rogue Leader. Rogue Leader. He was called Rogue Leader in Empire Strikes Back, and then in Return of the Jedi, Wedge Antilles took the title of Rogue Leader. Okay, so this means that, of course, we're not going to see Luke Skywalker. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see Luke Skywalker. We're going to see a team of X-Wing pilots. Now, what they're going to do, I don't know, but there was a rumor a long time ago which talked about, which it was a script that centered around these X-Wing pilots that needed to steal the plans for the Death Star, the blueprints and the plans, alright? Remember in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, they talked about how a bunch of their elite X-Wing pilots stole the Death Star plans. Well, maybe this movie is going to talk about how they did that. You know, talk about that story. That sounds really exciting to me, but so far that is only a rumor. It might not happen. In fact, there's a low chance of that happening, mainly because apparently that rumor was dispelled, unless they're just simply stating that it was dispelled because they don't want to give anything away. There's also rumor about the possibility of it being a Han Solo prequel film or a spin-off film, and a Boba Fett spin-off film. But you know what? I think that the X-Wing pilots stealing the Death Star plans, that sounds quite feasible, all right? Because I mean, it does relate directly to A New Hope, all right? And I'd love to see that story. It's kind of like a heist story, all right? So Star Wars, the Star Wars spin-off film directed by Gareth Edwards is titled Rogue One, and it comes out in December 2016. And other than that, the only other official piece of news for Star Wars Rogue One is that Felicity Jones is the only official cast member. Now, they didn't mention if she's playing a supporting role, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to be playing a lead role. And the main reason why I believe that is because, you know, Disney Studios is really getting to the whole you know, the diversifying thing. And that is, you know, they're bringing in more diverse actors, not only in race, but also gender. All right, and they're bringing that in to really strengthen their I guess, diversity in their franchise films. Okay, and that will really bring a larger audience, a more broad audience, a wider audience, all right? And people will really appreciate that. I think the fans will appreciate that, and I personally will appreciate that because I love that diversity. All right, so if Felicity Jones is a lead role, that's cool. You know what? They can have all types of X-Wing pilots, from male pilots to female pilots. All right, it ain't that far-fetched. Okay, so you know what? Anybody can be anything. So there you have it. That's all I gotta say in this video. I'm really excited about all the Star Wars films. I just want to see it happen. Okay, now Episode 9 is only going to be written by Rian Johnson. There's no word of him directing. And the next Star Wars spin-off will be directed by Josh Trank, who is, of course, known for Chronicle and the Fantastic Four reboot. And that's all I got to say in this video. Alright? Very, very exciting stuff. And as always, if you want to see more Star Wars news, subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and also you can check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/TheRaginNation, and also follow me on Twitter at RaginNation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Black Widow and Falcon, okay, but we're getting Captain America. We're seeing the introduction of Black Panther. We're also seeing a